A new Jurassic World is announced. Or is it? Now, almost a year after Jurassic World Rebirth hits theaters, people online are still making fun of it, or worse, forgot about it. But here in this corner of the internet, there is this dude who says he enjoyed this movie at release, and will be defending it for a long time. This is now the perfect opportunity to look back on Rebirth, and me, as a Giga Chad, and a longtime fan of the franchise, will share my perspective on each movie, and explain why this Chad think that Rebirth is a good movie. Let the music rolls and you're on for a long ride. First, let's start it off by clarifying that longtime fan doesn't mean shit. Most of us here grew up with the Jurassic franchise one way or another. My idea is to give you guys some insight from the other side of the argument, and of course, to kill some time because I'm nobody but a guy who has too much free time on his hands. Coming back after a second viewing of Rebirth, I can tell you that this movie was actually good. Believe me, if you like the first 3 Jurassic, you all gonna look at it fondly at this movie as time goes on. We all grew up with this franchise, we all love dinosaurs, yeah, but as different individuals, we look for different things in this franchise. The original Jurassic Park was sci-fi, it was philosophical, it taught us lessons, it has adventure, it has horror. It has everything a good movie needs, and that everything blends so well, so that is why it stood the test of time and now classified as a classic movie. That said, when a sequel is made, it cannot please everyone. If you don't want a copy of the first movie, you have to leave elements out and put new elements in to keep the story interesting. The moment a sequel was made, the moment a fanbase divided. And yeah, from this separation point, I stand on the side of the Lost World and Jurassic World are good. I wasn't alive when the first 2 were released and barely conscious when the third was in the cinema, so I don't have the rose-tinted glass and the nostalgia Google for each of the first 3 movies. What I know is I'm glued to the screen whenever my parents put a damn Jurassic DVD in the player, and I'll sit and mute like a stone. The first Jurassic Park was my favorite when I was a kid. Not because it was a well-written movie, but because it has the coolest dinosaur collection of the 3. The Lost World has the most dino count, and JP3 has Spino, but did they have a frickin' frilled dinosaur who spits venom? 3 years old me could not give a shit about cloning and playing god philosophies, but turning in to see colorful lizards, hell yes. This movie also helped develop kid me a liking for horror. I remember liking Grant and Muldoon on my first viewing and was shocked that Muldoon was brutally murdered halfway through. Jurassic Park was also one of my first movies, so I did not develop a sense of safety when it comes to main characters back then. After Muldoon died, I was on the edge of my seat worrying if Grant would be killed later on, and was relieved when he made it out alive. On subsequent viewing, Kidney still shivers every time seeing a character getting eaten or Grant and the kids being put in danger. As lunatic as it sounds, when I got used to it, I loved to replay to see the death scenes and had this weird sense of enjoyment seeing fictional characters getting mauled by prehistoric lizards. Two, The Lost World. I did not like The Lost World as much as the first as a kid, but still like it a lot, and I can tell you why. It was not colorful. Everything was so black and green, and the dinosaurs, while more diverse than the first, are not used to their full potential to leave an impression on a 3-year-old mind. Holy crap! Stegosaurus disappeared after their first scene and didn't kill anyone. Friar Tuck aka Pachycephalosaurus is cool, yeah, but it was on screen for like what? 30 seconds? And not until I'm 15 did I learn that the big sauropod in the game trail scene was a Mammochosaurus, not a Brachiosaurus. However, credit where it due, because this one, while not being my favorite, was the one I watched the most. As dull as the dinosaur collection compared to the first, it still has the biggest collection until Fallen Kingdom. And when you were a kid and you wanted to see nothing but dinosaurs, the hunting ground scene alone made this one a masterpiece. The thriller and horror aspect of The Lost World was cranked up to 11. You all can't forget about the tragic Eddie death that is still being talked about today, Dieter and the compies, Carter being stomped, the bloody waterfall, and the absolute bloodbath that's the long grass. Every next kill topped the previous in both creativity and brutality. Compared to the first one, Muldoon and Gennaro had it easy. Look at Eddie, Dieter and Peter deaths. They were not killed immediately but being toyed with and being horrified for minutes before finally being torn into pieces. Looking back, Eddie was and still is one of the ballsiest cinema deaths. Not every movie gives a side character that much attention, even more than the main character, then kills them off in such an absurd and unfair way. This death and Muldoon later become a staple and what I'm looking forward to in a Jurassic movie. This is a movie about people being put in prehistoric animal habitats. Prehistoric animals don't give a shit if you are a good or a bad guy. If they got you, you're fucked. Prehistoric animals are supposed to be scary. I'm aware The Lost World is not well liked because it doesn't have an intriguing lesson like the first one. But in my point of view, I saw the first one as Holly fuck him crying, dinosaurs are back, and this one is we knew dinosaurs are back. How about another adventure 65 million years in the making? You know nothing will hit as hard as the first time, and this movie is the consequences of that. It's not trying to wow you or to lecture you like the first, it's just more of the most exciting parts of the first, and it delivered. Face it, people who only love the first because it moved you by bringing back dinosaurs for the first time, you will not get that feeling again in any other Jurassic movie. You have already felt that 30 years ago. By the time I was in middle school, you didn't even need to be Hollywood to do that. Sci-Fi Channel and Asylum brought dinosaurs back to life casually. If what you were looking for was only that feeling, I don't know what you even expected. Oh yeah, about the T-Rex in the San Diego part. I hated that part as a kid and still skipping that part every watch-throughs. The idea is cool on paper and it wows you the first time, but after that, it's just boring. I'm looking for adventure, horror, and exotic prehistoric animals when I see a Jurassic movie. Same with King Kong, I always turn it off when the Skull Island part concludes. Seeing a prehistoric animal in a modern setting is just wrong and undermines its presence. Even if you are well aware it was the point. 3. Jurassic Park III. Alright, this one doesn't have any dinosaurs and modern setting bullshit. Brought us back to the slaughterhouse of an island that is Sorna. What could go wrong? Even when I was a kid, this one has always felt off to me. I did not like it very much back then, and didn't like it any better as time went on. It has everything I like from the first two, but none of them here were memorable and exciting. And as I told you, it is not nostalgia Google because I was born around the time this one was being released, so I got the privilege to have the complete trilogy as part of my childhood. Of course, I'm well aware that this is the first to not being directed by Spielberg, so of course it won't have the clever camera angles, tension level, and visual impression like the other two. But later on, Rebirth did give me exactly what I wanted from the other two, which we will talk about later, and Jurassic World 2015 too, a little, to an extent. So this is not the main reason. It is when I realized what I was looking for in a Jurassic movie. Jurassic Park and The Lost World compete to be my favorite, using their exclusive dinosaur collection. Jurassic Park III doesn't have that, it has the Spinosaurus, and that's pretty much it. Ceratosaurus was also a new addition, but it was only on screen for like 5 seconds and did not contribute anything to the plot, much like the Mammochosaurus that I mentioned earlier in The Lost World. At least the Pachycephalosaurus in The Lost World interacted with the characters, and a memorable interaction, so you still felt its presence. Previous movies have our characters stepping into danger by wandering into different dinosaurs' territory. By doing this, they hit two birds with one stone, introducing us to both exciting new dinosaurs and exciting new environments. This one just has one big Spinosaurus chasing a group mindlessly around an island like a slasher villain. It was repetitive to the point of being comical. Bro, you are the apex predator of this island, go eat something your size. You even killed a T-Rex. The fuck are you obsessed with these Homo sapiens? You have a grudge? We did not even see the fucker's habitat. Does Jurassic Park III have exciting and creative kills? Yes? Do any of them hold any weight? No. Udesky was the last death in JP3, and it was around 40 minutes into the movie, not even halfway. Calm down, calm down. A movie does not need a death every other minute to keep us suspenseful, but JP3 after Udesky doesn't have a sense of danger at all. Even on my first watch through, not knowing who lives and who dies, I did not feel scared for the characters at all. Not because the situations are not deadly enough, but because I give no fucks about any of the characters. Not even Grant, and I will talk about that later. Every character in JP3 was so unlikable to the point that I root for the dinosaurs to get them. Grant was a grumpy old man, Billy was a dick, Cooper was a dick, we barely even know him, Nash exists for a few seconds, the Kirbys are all dicks. Not because I watched this movie 20 times a week as a kid I would not remember Cooper and Nash to ever exist. But in Jurassic Park and the Lost World? You do not need a second viewing for Gennaro, Dennis, Muldoon, Eddie, Dieter or Burke, deaths to stuck on your mind forever. One thing I absolutely hate in JP3 is the return of Grant. The fuck is he here? Look at Sam Neill's face. He doesn't even want to be in the movie. Returning characters is a necessary thing in a sequel, but not in Jurassic Park. You see, characters only need to return when it comes to character-driven story. The Jurassic franchise is not. It's an environment-driven story, not plot or character-driven. The point of this franchise is seeing different people surviving in the same environment, with different dinosaurs and different situations every time. Grant's story completed in JP1, bringing him back adds nothing, and it makes the world smaller. The Lost World has Malcolm returns, sure, I hate that too. But that's what the book did, and he was pretty much a different person second time, so I tolerate it. Speaking of returning characters, boo-hoo, when we got to JW Dominion, is gonna be interesting. 4. Jurassic World. My, isn't this the most divisive movie in the franchise? If you view this movie positively, you love it. If you view it negatively, you hate it, there is no middle ground. As for me, I loved this movie when I first saw it, and still loving it today. A popular consensus about this movie is it is just a remake of the first one, or it is just a blunt corporate product. Well, I agree, but I still love it. Sometimes, a movie being a corporate product is also a good thing. As I told you, I was born around the same time as the third, so that means I was waiting my whole life for this movie. I was a superfan, my expectations were off the roof. Thinking about it, the reason I love this movie so much has to do with the timing. It was released when I was 14. Old enough to be nostalgic about the franchise, young enough to eat up all the bullshit that comes with it. Not counting the 3D re-release of JP1, this was my first official visit to Isla Nublar on the big screen, and oh my, let me tell you, my feeling seeing the Mosasaurus jumped off the lake was the same feeling you old geezer feel when you saw that fucking Brachiosaurus in JP1, back in 1993. I saw all the promotion materials prior to seeing it in the cinema, and I'm still moved. The moment Rexy set foot on the helipad and roared to the sunset, my childhood wrapped up beautifully. I was satisfied. This movie, funnily, did not have everything I wanted from a Jurassic movie. It did not have a very diverse dinosaur selections, no memorable death but one, you know the one, no sense of adventure or danger to any human character, but it has one thing, one magical thing that I forgot. If you were obsessed with Jurassic Park like me, I bet your dream was also to visit the park one day. For a franchise called Jurassic Park, there was only one park that was never opened, the rest are just dinosaur islands. Like you all, I also drew the park, recreated Nublar Island by Lego multiple times. In my dream I was thinking about the park, imagining all the cool dinosaurs and facilities, all the endless possibilities if the park was open. And that, my friends, was what Jurassic World gave me. A day at the park, at its glory. I don't care if it has no sense of adventure. I don't need to care about the characters. I don't care if it has no memorable deaths. The fact seeing the park again and in its completed form was more than I could have asked for. If you are looking into this movie asking for a thought-provoking movie, through the lens of scientists like the first, you will never get. But if you're looking at it through the view of a visitor in an official visit to the park, you will have a good time. Talking about returning characters, this one was the only one I didn't mind. Hell, I'm even happy to see him. Bringing back the guy who is directly responsible for the creation of the dinosaur made sense, and it filled the holes that the first movie missed. It gives you an idea of how the guy who created the dinosaurs thinks of his creations, and the process of creating a dinosaur. Indo-Rex and Raptor Squad was fine. Looking back, it was very goofy, but as I told you, I was young enough to eat up all its bullshit. Thinking about it, the second half of the movie when things went to shit, I was saying that I wasn't scared for any character. Well, that wasn't true. I wasn't scared for any human characters. But once the rocket hit Charlie the Raptor, I gasped, and from that point on I was at the edge of my seat worrying about the other raptor as they were killed off one by one. The sense of danger and the dwindling party element was there, just in a reverse sense. While I said the dinosaur collection in this one is limited, you have to admit every choice is a smash hit. You remembered all the creatures and their names in this movie. We saw enough land dinosaurs in the original trilogy. Adding variety to the sky and the sea was a clever move, although they are not dinosaurs. About the I-Rex, people make fun of Jurassic World for jumping the shark for creating a man-made dinosaur, because people are tired of dinosaurs, but all I see is the movie being self-aware and poking fun at itself. Combined with all the nostalgic moments and people in the movie being aware of it, I'd say it's a clever way to balance with the new Hollywood. This was also the era when they finally released licensed LEGO sets. I started writing JP fiction again, and new Universal rides were made. It was my peak interest in the franchise. I thought this is the perfect stopping point for the franchise, and then. You knew what and then. But it's not all perfect either, even I can tell it has flaws. One thing I don't like about JW15 is the T-Rex starting to lose its aura in this movie. In other movies, when you see a T-Rex you sense this feel of dread and pressure. You know that this thing is dangerous and not to be fucked with. This one makes T-Rex your big dog and an avenger, and you should be happy seeing it. It also started the stupid dinosaur final boss battle trend. 5. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Coming from the height of world, my love for the franchise is undefeated. Yet this piece of shit is bad enough I lost interest in the franchise. I hated that shit when I saw it in the cinema, and while I kinda like it now, I like it as I like Spaceballs to Star Wars. The first half of this movie was actually decent, just decent, not good. It gave us a lot of dinosaurs. The opening intro is the most JP1 sequence you ever get in this franchise. Then Eli Mills was introduced. Peter Ludlow 2.0, but what if he's attractive, interesting? This man is gonna make it difficult for Claire. Oh, and working with the poachers this time, the volcano is a ticking time bomb, things are gonna get interesting. Then nothing happened. The poachers betrayed Owen a few minutes in, Mills just being a mustache-twirling villain, and he doesn't even come to the island. Respect for Ludlow for actually risking his life. Characters slapstick their way out of danger, and then dinosaurs on the mainland for another half of the movie. Motherfucker. You know, the volcano itself is scary enough for a movie, asked Dante Peak, yet this movie turns the scariest situation possible into a joke. I'm not that guy who questions logic in movies and enjoys them for what they are. I love the baryonic scene, but when people like me see it as comical, the problem is on the surface. JW15 on paper was goofy, but when it comes to kills and danger, at least it was serious. You do not laugh seeing Zara, Simon, and the fat dude getting killed, rather feel bad for them. But this one, every single death is played for laughs. Buffalo Bill death could be a fucked up moment, but you just need to have a dinosaur winked at the audience. I'm a big fan of Toby Jones because of The Mist, and so excited when he was announced to be in this film, but after seeing his character I just can't help but feeling embarrassed for him.
$4 million, $5 million, I hear $6 million, thank you. Any increases or shucks? I hear $10 million.
It has all the exotic locations and settings in the abandoned park, an erupting volcano, but they glossed over it, and the main event happened on a bland grassland next to a cliff and again, a fucking mansion on the mainland. Motherfuckers. The clone girl plotline that people hate, I don't personally care about. It's not what I'm looking for in a Jurassic movie, but if you like the sci-fi aspect of the original Jurassic Park, you might like it. For me, when she delivers the emotional line,
I had to. They're alive. Like me.
I just can't help but burst out laughing like a mad lad in the cinema. Maybe I hate this movie so much because it provided no surprise and any reason to see it in the cinema. The marketing for this movie was so bad that if you saw the trailer, you saw everything. If it's not because I'm stingy with my $10, I would have walked out of the theater. Fallen Kingdom is everything wrong people used to convince me Jurassic World was bad and without the magic of the park. Surprisingly, this movie along with The Lost World is the ones I rewatched the most. Just because it has the most number of dinosaurs on screen. Like people say, Jurassic World is an inferior remake of Jurassic Park, this one is an inferior remake of The Lost World. I'm more open to it now for the variety of the dinosaur it brought to the table and the tropical setting in the first half, but I always turn it off as soon as the island part ends. Dinosaurs in a mansion? For fuck's sake. 6. Jurassic World Dominion. Believe or not, I actually liked this one the first time I saw it in the cinema. After Fallen Kingdom killed my interest in the franchise, I could not care less to watch a trailer. Combined with the dinosaur apocalypse premise and the announcement of returning actors, you know how much I despise dinosaurs on mainland and bring back old characters. My expectation for this movie was deep in the mud. That actually helped elevated my enjoyment for this one. I went into this blind. Out of the 5 things I wanted in a Jurassic movie, cool dinosaur selections, characters I could care about, the sense of danger and adventure, unique kills and exotic locations. This movie delivered 2.5 out of 5, which was not bad. As expected, I was bored to death by the movie up until they introduced the nature preserve. You know, the story up until that point was fast and furious with dinosaurs, blah blah, I don't need to explain why. But all the negatives end there. Once they switched the setting to the nature preserve, they got all my interest. The preserve to me is like a third park. If I like a day at the park in JW15, I would love a day at this new park, right? Let's talk about the prehistoric animal collection. I would argue this one has brought the coolest collection to date. Giganotosaurus, Oviraptor, Quetzalcoatlus, Dimetrodon, Pyroraptor, whatever the hell Atrociraptors are, and my absolute favorite dinosaur of all time, Therizinosaurus. Each of them owns the scene they are in. I gasped in disbelief that they would one day bring my favorite Wolverine's hand motherfucker to the big screen, portrayed it accurately as a herbivore while still being intimidating, and made it one of the center dinosaurs of the movie. Not only did they do justice to the new guys, but they also brought back my old favorite Dilophosaurus, and made it the star of its own scene. As much as I hate the dino battle things that plagued the franchise since JW15, I couldn't say I'm not happy they let my boys Therizinosaurus and Dilophosaurus to be the ones to put down the big bads. Therizino puts down the Giga and Dillo puts down Dodgson. The Giga did nothing wrong though. Each dinosaur tied with its own set piece and cool situations for the main character to overcome. Giga has the tower, Therizino has the swamp, Quetzal has the sky, Dimetrodon has the mine, Pyroraptor has the snow. People complain about the nature preserve and not getting the stupid dinosaur apocalypse they were promised, but to fans like me it's actually what I wanted. No bullshit Resident Evil plot, just people trying to make it out alive in a dinosaur-infested environment. I'm also one of the only dozen to love the Locust plotline. While it has nothing to do with Jurassic Park, it was a very Michael Crichton plot. Believe me, if you read enough of his book and have him keep pumping out Jurassic Park novels, He would be the one to invent the locust plotline himself. The second half was so good it made me forget about the first half. Coming from Fallen Kingdom, I wouldn't expect cool kills and suspension, and it's the right move because I got none. While I liked the movie on my first viewing, I'm well aware of it being what it is. It's never gonna be good, and I will never love it. After a second viewing on Blu-ray, I started to notice the flaws and got reminded of how horrible the first half was. I did not like it now as much as my first viewing, and this might be the one I never rewatch. Extra. People praise the Blu-ray cut for its extended prologue, but it only makes me despise the movie even more. You tell me a T-Rex was killed in combat, and has a Vietnam flashback when it sees its killer in its afterlife? 7. Jurassic World Rebirth. Alright, back to the main character of today's rambling. If you endured to this point, you must really want to hear my thoughts on Rebirth, right? As you can see through my review of the previous 6, you knew what I was looking for in a Jurassic movie. Cool dinosaur selections. Characters I could care about. The sense of danger and adventure. Memorable deaths. Exotic set pieces. I also hate dinosaurs in modern settings and much prefer a sci-fi, tropical setting where they can be the master of their own scene. And let me tell you, this movie gave me all of that. Learning from past experience, I also dodged marketing for this one like a plague. Like Dominion, I walked in Rebirth blind. And oh boy, this movie was a treat. Rebirth surprisingly has a very limited collection of dinosaurs compared to the Pratt trilogy, but quality over quantity. Most of them stick. Aside from the Titanosaurus and the mutants, most of the animals in this movie are recycled from previous movies. But like The Lost World, you rather recycle right than adding new ones nobody would give a fuck about. Spinosaurus, Mosasaurus, Quetzalcoatlus, and of course, T-Rex are all brought back with new designs. They almost feel like new dinosaurs. Each dinosaur owns their scene when they are on the screen, and each comes with a set piece you cannot forget about. Mosasaurus and Spinosaurus has the badass boat scene, Titanosaurus has the classic sauropod scene, Mr. Rex has its river scene from the first novel, Quetzalcoatlus has the temple, and the mutant D-Rex has the lab, Mutodon has the sewers, and while people hate it, the Velociraptor piss scene are iconic. You will not forget about it anytime soon. What I love about this movie is they stopped treating dinosaurs like superheroes. I almost thought they were gonna have the T-Rex barge in and kill the D-Rex to save the day, but nothing happened and the D-Rex walks out free. First I felt something was missing, then I cannot express how happy I am they are not letting that bullshit happen again. D-Rex might look like a villain, but dinosaurs are no villains and do not need to be killed off. While I don't care, I also don't mind the mutants. I think it was a good idea and it gives this movie an identity. Years from now people will remember this one as the Jurassic Park movie with mutants. It's, to be honest, not a bad thing. They are not even the main focus, just extra fun at the end. As for the main character and the kills, I agree you could tell who lives and who dies right off the bat, but coming from someone seeing no trailers, reading no spoiler, it does surprise me a bit. It's funny looking back, this movie has the exact story and kill order as JP3, and I was making fun of JP3 earlier. It has 3 Mercs deaths, 2 happened immediately by Spinosaurus, and 1 in the middle. Heck, Rebirth was even more trigger happy than JP3. It axed 2 of its characters before they even made it to the island, while Nash and Cooper at least died the moment they set foot on the island. Not knowing this and coming from the JW trilogy, when they introduce Ed Skrein's Atwater, I for a moment think that this guy might live and learn a lesson. He's the youngest member of the crew, handsome, actually a chill dude, and his only flaw was being fine with killing the dinosaurs, which pretty much Owen in JW. I'm glad I'm wrong, the Spinos doesn't give a fuck. Dude died a Cooper, but with proper setup. His death scene was also memorable, being dragged into the ocean unlike Cooper being just a chomp. First good main character to be killed off by dinosaurs since JW. I was surprised and for a moment cautious. Do not name your children Atwater. Then comes Nina, After Atwater, I'm sure this woman is gonna die, but not by Spinosaurus, not after she barely escaped its jaws a minute ago. I'm convinced that she will have temporary plot amour until the next dinosaur appears, but no, the Spinos has to be greedy dicks. Her death was also memorable. God, I love the Spino in this movie. Having two good guys die right off the bat set the tone for this movie. You start caring for other characters, which is exactly what I miss. Call me a pussy, but I actually worried for Henry and Duncan for a moment there, and to an extent want Krebs to live. Talking about Krebs, he is what I want in a bad guy for a long time. Arrogant, cowardice while also charismatic, is liked by other characters and actually not an asshole. He is what I wanted Mills to be back in JW2. This guy is so funny, even by Jurassic logic you know he's gonna bite the dust, you still want him to live. His motivation while coming from greed was not totally evil, and while the movie tries to portray him as a bastard and you know something was off about this dude, he actually did nothing wrong. As a bad guy he also hugs the main character in Celebrations, wows at the wonder and tries to help people in danger. It helps you feel a little more conflicted seeing this dude being bitten in halves. Awesome death, by the way. And can you not talk about death without talking about poor Leclerc? Fans for years begged for another Eddie, and this one delivered. Sure, he was not Eddie, not even Discount Eddie, but in context his death was the same. Dude died doing the right thing at the wrong moment. His death was supposed to be heroic, unfair, and it was exactly what you got. He has a drawn-out death scene and got the worst outcome possible. When was the last time a pure-hearted character in this franchise got a death like that? I'm pretty sure this character will be talked about a lot as time goes on. As Henry said, you put yourself in places you are not supposed to be, you asked for it. Prehistoric animals are not your friend, and not to be fucked with. You can't tame dinosaurs with the Force. Xavier is okay, he is actually funny, unlike Franklin. I know the entire family is gonna live. The blandest character is Scarlett Johansson, but hey, I'm a real gentleman, I can forgive her for two big personalities. As for the Baby Yoda Aqualops, I don't mind her, kids can have their Baby Yoda dinosaur. More fans to the series means more movies getting made. At the end of the day, Rebirth did nothing new, but it also doesn't need to do that. The plot is straightforward and all the characters you know will make it out alive. It's by the book action-adventure movie, and it's fine to be simple and predictable. The combo of cool creatures, island adventure, likable characters, cool action sequences and memorable deaths put butts to seats. Remember Anaconda, Deep Rising, Skull Island? Rebirth is that kind of movie. If you are a fan of Jurassic Park, and you are looking for a deep and thoughtful story while also witnessing a cinema wonder, LOL, you will never find that in this franchise ever again. And it has been like that since '97. But if you are a fan of Jurassic Park for its collection of dinosaurs, colorful characters, exciting moments and memorable deaths like me, then Rebirth is your back to its root movie. Fun fact before closing. After the movie, I saw the trailer, and they spoiled deaths left and right. Children, stay away from trailers if you want to enjoy the next movie. Peace.